Today's task is going to be graphing lines, and I'm going to give you information about the slope and the y-intercept. If we have those two pieces of information, graphing lines becomes very, very fast. We can use the y-intercept to put a point on our graph and use the slope to find additional points and just connect the dots. Now, last lesson when we talked about slope, we used the phrase rise over run, and that helped us to build our stairs on the graph. Our slope is -2 for this graph, which is not written as a fraction. When it's not written as a fraction, I like to change that into a fraction by putting it over a 1. I'm allowed to do that because -2 divided by 1 is still -2. I haven't changed the value of anything. That now tells me that I am going to go down 2, that's my rise, and to the right 1, since it is positive, that's my run. So I'm going to use that to build the stairs. We're going to start with the y-intercept though. That gives us a nice place to put a point so that we can then begin to build our stairs. So our y-intercept is 4. We're going to put that on the graph right here. And our rise over run is -2 over 1. That tells me I'm going to go down 2 and right 1 and down 2 and right 1. And if I continue to do this, we can see that I'm building my stairs and those points end up in a straight line. We can put as many as we want on there. I like to get a few so I can keep my line nice and straight, but 2 is technically enough if you can keep it straight with a ruler or something. All right, let's look at our next question. We want to graph y equals -2x plus 4. Now in our last lesson, we discovered that y equals mx shows us the slope, where that m gives us the slope. And we can see that that m is -2 like we had before. Our y-intercept, we also learned how to calculate those. So we're going to use our x value of 0 to try and find our y value right there. That gives us y equals -2, and I'm going to put in my x value of 0, plus 4. -2 times 0 is 0, so we just have 0 plus 4. So that gives us y equals 4, and our y-intercept is at the point 0, 4. And you can see that that 4 right here matches the 4 right there. Now, if an equation is in this form where we have y equals and we have something that looks like a term with an x and a term without it, that will always happen. We'll come back to this in just a second. So this is always going to end up being our y-intercept, and we can see now that we have the same information as before. So we have the same graph right here. Now let's take a look at a couple of other equations, but now that we've discovered about the slope and the y-intercept, I'm going to write down the slope-intercept form for a line. This is a very convenient way to represent the equation for a line. So you want to memorize this, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. And with those two pieces of information, we can graph lines again very quickly. So you'll see where we have y equals mx plus b. It's a minus, so our intercept is negative. Our slope is 3, and I'm going to write that as a fraction, so it's 3 over 1. So we're going to graph those. My y-intercept is at -5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5 right there. And our slope is 3 over 1, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, and up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, and continue to do that, and that gives us our line right there. On this next one, our slope is -4/3. Our y-intercept is -2. So let's go ahead and put those points in here. I'm going to start again with my y-intercept, which is -2. All right, our slope is negative this time, so we're going to end up going down and to the right. We're going downhill. So we're going to go down 4 and to the right 3. So if I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1, 2, 3, that puts me over here, and I can draw that line. And as you can see, we're going pretty quickly on this. This last one I see throw people off quite a bit, because there is no number in front of the x. There's also no number out here where our y-intercept is. So I'm going to introduce 2 numbers just like I did with this one, and it will become a little bit clearer what our slope and our y-intercept are. Now I cannot change the value of this equation, but if I multiply the x by 1, multiplying by 1 doesn't change any values. So I still have x over there. And over here if I add 0, adding 0 also does not change any values. So I now have a value for my slope and my y-intercept. I'm going to write this as a fraction. My slope is 1 over 1. My y-intercept is 0. 0 would be just right here on the origin, and I'm going to go up 1 and right 1, up 1 and right 1, and our slope makes it look like that. So if you ever see any values like this or equations where the value is not written and you want to write it, you can do so as long as you choose these numbers that do not change the value. Dividing by 1 does not change the value of that 3. Multiplying by 1 does not change the value here. Adding 0 does not change the value. And that helps me. Thank you.